Good evening, our viewers at home and around the world. I welcome you to today's show. As you are aware, the show is the Late Go podcast. With me today, I have Yinka and our our Milan analyst class. I'm sure is in a very good mood tonight. Anyways, welcome you to today's show. It's been raining goals across Europe tonight. We've seen some unexpected losses. We've seen uh, teams drop out of the qualification zone. And finally, I think we can say Man City are back. They were able to ensure qualification. Yinka does not agree with me, but
Well, I
we will
haven't said
get it.
anything. Continue.
Your picture expression says otherwise. Cass, I'm sure you don't agree either. But City were able to pull through. Uh, that PSG could not execute their biscotto. That ended badly for Stuttgart. We'll also be discussing potential knockout fixtures around the 16 fixtures before we go into the transfer news. But don't let me bore us with our schedule tonight. Let's just go straight into the discussion. City, they ended Club Brugge's 19 games unbeaten. Yinka, is Pep Guardiola's team back?
Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to be back here again. To answer your question, I think like we said last week, we've been answering this question every week for the past 3 or 4 weeks now. And I think for me, it's still neither yes or no. It's still a case of let's wait and see. I did mention the last time we had the chat that the win against Chelsea has the potential to sort of rejuvenate their spirits and put them right back on track. But because I did not see the game tonight, I was watching the Inter game, obviously, but I was monitoring the stats very closely. And before Club Brugge scored, I know that Club Brugge did have a, better stats than Manchester City at some point. So it made me wonder what was going on. So I'm not able to say if they are really back, especially because the stats did not really convince me, even though the result was convincing. But like I said, it's still neither yes or no for me.
Before I go to Cass, Ahmed, welcome to today's show. It's good to have you here. Cass, I know you be, I know you believe City are not back. Let me just hear your opinion.
Thank you for having me. And I know I've been on a long holiday, but now I'm back. So for me, I don't think City they are not yet fully back, in my opinion. They have probably played against a Chelsea who is out of form. They are obviously a better side against a Zagreb. I want to see them probably play Arsenal over the weekend and then see them winning. Probably that would actually bring the positive motivation that Yinka is talking about. But for me at the moment, they are just picking the points where we expect them to pick the point. If you look at the Chelsea game closely, for example, they almost actually lost the game. If Jackson actually did what he was supposed to do, probably the story would have been probably different today.
Yeah, Cass,
However,
can you
kudos
please
to them.
increase your volume?
Oh, okay. Yeah, can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, it's a bit better.
I can actually hear you. It's just a bit low.
Okay. Okay. Why not move on to Ahmed? Let me fix
Yes.
let me fix my mic. I'll just fix my mic
Ahmed,
while you move to Ahmed.
if Guardiola beats Arsenal convincingly over the weekend, would you consider them back?
Very big one like we said in 2 episodes back. You asked the same question after some couple of wins, and I mentioned that those were quite expected wins. They faced some somewhat struggling team as at then. So that proved to be the case when they faced Brentford and struggled, and they also faced PSG in the Champions League. They lost that tie again. Uh, Good for them. They faced Chelsea just this weekend, an equally poor side, so to say. They won that very game. This night they struggled again. A team that as big as City trying to make a point. You expect them to come into that game with everything at stake. They had their qualification hanging. You expect them to come into that game in their usual fashion, get punished Bruges as early as the first half. But no, they went behind. They had to struggle to come back. So I wouldn't just conclude that they are back with the win against Arsenal. They need to do more than that to actually prove that they are back.
I think we are discussing a lot of it here. If 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 this, if that. Even though Chelsea are a struggling team, City came back to beat Chelsea. I saw the match against Bruges, and I must confess to you, they struggled for the early part of the game, but they came back, stuff of champions, and they scored 3 goals. Don't forget that Club Brugge are on a 19-match unbeaten run. It's
Yeah,
easy to say, they struggle, but they got the result. I think
I,
we are being too harsh on City.
oh, sorry to cut you short. Have you seen City's next 6 games? Have you
I know
seen
they
their
play
next
Arsenal
6 games?
next.
I'm just having a look now. They have Arsenal, they have
Yes,
Newcastle, they have
yes.
Liverpool, they have Tottenham, and they have Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest away. Those are basically all of the teams fighting for Champions League spots next season. The only easy game they have is the FA Cup fourth round game against Leyton Orient. So I think it would be too premature to say that they are back, especially considering, the level of fixtures that await them over the next, few weeks. If they are able to navigate this set of fixtures without really, suffering any form of hits, quote and unquote, then one could say, okay, I think City might be coming back to the level that we're expecting them. But what they've done so far, they've just won 2 games in a row, for crying out loud, against Chelsea and Club Brugge. Like I said, I don't see them putting 5 wins in a row this season. If they're able to do that, I can comfortably say yes, they are back. But at this point, I'm not willing to put my head on the, on the table for that one, or on the line. I'm not willing to put my neck on the line.
Anyways, moving away from City, the Champions League group phase came to an end today. We had 8 teams qualify automatically. 3 teams from England, 2 teams from Spain, 1 team from Italy, Yinka's team, Ahmed
You
and
guys have
Cass.
not congratulated me, by the way, but I won't.
Congratulations. I'm a neutral on this show, so Yinka,
Thank you,
congratulations.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
One
you.
team, 1 team from Germany and 1 team from France. Overall, we had 4 teams qualify from England, 4 teams qualify from Italy. Those are the 2 best performing leagues. Cass, considering that both teams have provided 4 teams, and they are the 2 teams in run for the 5th Champions League slot, how do you see that competition panning out in the end? Cass, we can't hear you.
Sorry,
I think you are on
Cass, we
mute.
can't hear you. I think there's still something wrong with your audio. Are you on mute?
I think you are on mute.
It looks like you're on mute because it's not showing that you're saying anything. No, I can just read your lips.
Okay, Nika, EPL, Serie A, 4 teams each. Do you see that going down to the
All
wire?
right. All right. So both teams are actually fighting for the extra. Well, both teams are in the top 2 slots for the extra positions in the Champions League next season. But the beauty of that race is that the determining factors is not solely, or the determining factor is not solely based or reliant on the Champions League. You have to also consider the Europa League and the UEFA Conference League. So the performances of Italian club and in those 2 competitions would also count. In the Europa League, I think Lazio are doing really well. I'm not quite sure if Fiorentina are doing that well. I know that Roma are struggling quite a bit. Roma should still make it. I expect them to qualify. They might need to sweat a bit to qualify, but I expect them to qualify. In the UEFA Conference League, Chelsea are obviously favourites to win that one, so you'd expect them to go all the way, which means that a certain amount of points is guaranteed, or they have certain amount of points guaranteed for them in this race. So far so good. I think that both of them would end up picking the 2 slots. Spain has not particularly lived up. La Liga has not particularly lived up. Same for Bundesliga. Bundesliga and Serie A got the slots last year. England has made a fight back, and they are trying to show everyone that they are still the best when it comes to club football.
And shoulders above every other person on that lot.
Exactly. So, but I think that the 2 slots will go to England and Italy, especially because during the last match day, Italy tried to put a bit of gap between themselves and Germany. Germany did try to pull back a bit this match day, but we still have to wait for the Europa League and the UEFA Conference League.
They
I
actually
also
didn't
think,
do better than Italy this time around.
well,
Leipzig lost to Stormgars and Stuttgart also lost to PSG. So
okay,
I think those are,
I just know that Bayern won and Dortmund won. I can't
yes,
even remember the
yes.
other teams. But Bayern won, Dortmund won. Obviously, like I said, the Champions League
Leverkusen won
is
too.
not Leverkusen won as well. So the Champions League, and England had maybe 2 wins this match day. Sorry, Italy had maybe 2 wins this match day. That
Just one.
just one. So they're doing they're doing just enough to catch up and make up ground for the points that they lost last match day. But we still have to wait for the Conference League and the Europa League before we can decide. In fact, we might need to wait until the quarterfinal before it begins to take real shape, and we can actually decide who will get the slots. But I'm tipping England and Italy to get those slots.
In fact, we are tipping England and Italy. That means Ahmed's club has a chance of making it to the Champions League.
Well, yeah, I mentioned it. I mentioned it last week. I think that Milan. I'm actually tipping Milan to qualify for the Champions League, the 4th slot in Italy. I think they'll get it. But I also think that Italy will get 5 slots. So Juventus, Lazio, Roma seem to be making a late comeback, even though it might be too late. But they seem to be, making it, fighting for it, so to speak. Fiorentina also in there with a bit of a chance. It should be an interesting fight if Italy ends up getting, Bologna are also there at the moment. So we'll see how it turns out.
Speaking of Juventus, they lost over the weekend, their first loss in 22 matches in the league. They followed it with a loss at home to Benfica today. Cass, can you hear? Are you with us? Are you back with us? Can you hear us? Cass, we can't hear you.
I can't even see him.
I can see him,
I
but
think the
but I
loss to
can't.
Dynamo Zagreb is taking a toll on
It's,
cars.
no. I think something is wrong with his connection. I didn't want him back. So Juventus has followed it up with a loss to Benfica. At the last episode, we discussed about what the loss against Napoli might do to their mentality. is the loss to Benfica a symptom of the loss or an outcome of the loss to Napoli? Are we seeing a trend already? Ahmed?
I wouldn't say this has anything to do with Napoli. And that is because as much as they've been unbeaten in the Italian Serie A, and I need to remind you that these draws are this unbeaten run has a lot of draws in them. You understand? So their form
13.
in the UCL is very different from what is going on in lately. They've lost about 2 games in the Champions League already. They've lost to Stuttgart. They also lost to
No,
sorry, I
tonight is
can't
actually
remember.
their second. Tonight is their
Okay,
second
tonight
loss.
is okay, but I think they had a draw before
Yes,
the
Yeah,
Stuttgart
they
game.
they were
didn't lose
almost
to
losing
So
some games.
so that the loss tonight is not a surprise. And I wouldn't link it to the loss to Napoli. That was written in stone. You understand? So their performance in the UCL so far is nothing to. I'm not saying it is bad, but the consistency is not there. Yes, they won some surprising game against City, which was, as at then, we never knew City were in deep problem. We thought it was the usual City, but now in insight, we understand that was not the original version of City. So I wouldn't link the loss tonight to Napoli. It's defected. They are not very convincing in the Champions League.
Well, just to inform our viewers at home, tonight we are having a late go podcast betting section where our panelists will be giving us outcomes with score lines and any other way they want to give us. But tonight we're having that section. We're also having a player focus and a coach focus. In our player focus, we're talking about Robert Lewandowski, uh, a player of immense IQ and quality. He's the highest goal scorer of the Champions League and is the third highest goal scorer all time in the Champions League. There's an interesting fact to that his stats. He has a stat that is better than Messi and Ronaldo. When we get to that section, I will tell us that stat as regards goal scoring in the Champions League. So, Ahmed, I will not allow you to discuss Milan's loss. So, you would sit back and enjoy this section of the show. And
All right.
Cass, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I don't know
Oh,
if it's better now.
fantastic.
We can
Just
hear
the
you now.
We can finally hear you.
Just the man I
Thank
was
you.
looking for. I think you should change the orientation of your video.
Yes, of your camera.
Yeah,
Just
of
give
your
me 1
camera.
second.
Yes.
Guys, I think
Give
you
me
should
1
get
second.
something to drink.
No. Cass is fine.
Samson,
Cass is fine.
Samson wants us to sit back while you can discuss Milan's loss to Zagreb. You should get yourself something to drink.
Yinka will discuss, then Cass will buttress. So Yinka, last week I gave you a teaser about how Dynamo Zagreb can come into play. And you saw that almost play out tonight. Dynamo were leading. They needed Bologna to beat Sporting. Unfortunately, Bologna could not beat Sporting. But ultimately, Milan lost the match and lost the top 8 slot together with it. What do you make of that loss by Milan?
Well, given the way that Milan started their Champions League campaign, I think that Milan did well to recover and put themselves in a position to actually fight for that top 8 slot. If you ask most Milan fans after the first 2 or 3 games, if they were certain of a top 8 slot, most of them would have told you that it's not happening. It wouldn't happen. But Milan recovered, especially after the victory against Real Madrid. Um, After their last game, I can't quite remember who the last match was against in the Champions League. After they
Girona.
won
Slavia
that game,
Bratislava.
Girona. No, I think it was Girona.
Oh, you mean the
Girona at the
last
San
game?
Siro. Yeah,
Yeah, that was Girona
game.
last week.
Yeah,
Okay.
Girona. After that game, they actually give themselves a fighting chance, and I think they were even fifth on the log. After that, match day. Um, Most people would have expected that they would go to Zagreb and pick up a win. I certainly expected that. A few weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought, though. Even I wouldn't have thought so. Even though I thought that Zagreb was a tricky team to face. Teams like that on their own ground, especially when they need a win, they are always very tricky. Nonetheless, you would expect Milan to have more quality and enough quality to overcome them. Um, the loss tonight is a negative, regardless of how you want to look at it. Um, uh, I think that they should have won. Unfortunately, I did not watch the game, so I'm unable to really delve into why they've lost that game. But just based off the quality, based off what was at stake, based off the fact that Milan actually had that top 8 qualification in their hands, I think that it's a negative that Milan did not, pick up all 3 points tonight. I did hear that they got a red card, though, so that may have played a part.
Yes, Milan got a red card in the first half. Musa was sent off for 2 quick fouls. And as a Milan fan, I must tell you that the lack of discipline that the players display at times baffles even a neutral, not to talk of a Milan fan. Uh, there was Christian Pulisic was interviewed, I think, before this match or over the weekend, and he made a cryptic statement. They asked him what was the difference between Fonseca and Conceição, and he said, summarily, he said the only difference is that now they don't give up. So basically, tactically, it's like Milan has moved sideways, but then the only difference is mentality. Because looking at the match, I saw the match. I was watching that match and watching the City match, and I can tell you that Milan had no idea. There was no plan to score. There was we were just in the game, and at halftime, or after we equalized, if you go to the table, we're actually back in the top 8. But then, even a win would not have done us any good tonight, because Aston Villa had a superior goal difference of about +6 or +7. So
+7.
overall, we can say +7. So overall, we can
Yes.
say Milan has tried to at least make the playoff spot, but then there's a lot of work to be done. Ahmed, I will let you give us your thoughts in just 1 minute.
Well, there's not so much to be added, because one will start to sound like a broken record. When you have to talk about Milan every weekend, you would almost say the same thing all the time. The lack of a game plan, futile attack. When Leao is not on song, we hardly create anything. And the problem is, we have some group of people who call themselves management. They never seem to do anything about it. We have the whole winter transfer window to correct some basic additions. You understand? We only had Walker we could only bring in Walker. We have quite a plethora of problems. It is Walker alone won't solve the problem we have. How can we always have to rely on Musa?
Man,
Imagine how we got recorded. His first yellow card had nothing to do with him. Morata made a foul, so to say. Musa came in to drag
and
the
I was
opposition
complaining.
player. That was how he earned. That was
Yeah,
how he earned his
he
first
was
yellow.
motivated now. Motivation.
The second one, that was a challenge you need not go into. Pavlovic was there. The Dynamo Zagreb player was not even. Our goalkeeper was closer to the ball than the Dynamo Zagreb player. Musa had to pull him. The ref didn't even get him carded for that. It was his utterance to the referee that got him the second yellow. Who does that on a crucial night like that? See, I
The
don't want
last player
to.
does that.
I don't want to start blowing out, but there is little to talk about when, as far as Milan is concerned. There are little positives to mention.
Well,
All the good work that has been done before now. We had 5 straight wins, and it seemed like we had our destiny in our hands. Now we had to throw that all away just by losing to the Dynamo Zagreb.
well,
Man, I don't want to talk about this team.
it's been an interesting night, and I can understand your frustration, Ahmed. But then, if you go to the Champions League website, there are already some bracket view of fixtures, especially for the knockout phase. And I will just run us through some top fixtures to look ahead to. We have Madrid against Bayern. We have
Is that
Feyenoord.
official?
That is from the UEFA website.
Lens the draw is on Friday.
They call it the bracket view on the Champions League on the
Okay.
UEFA website. So
All right.
they have Madrid against Bayern. They have PSG against Benfica, Feyenoord against Juve, Milan against PSG, and Celtic against City. Madrid against Bayern. That is a tale of two teams that have been blowing hot and cold. Madrid, on the other hand, has seemed to find some balance with Mbappe leading the line. Ayinka, Madrid, Bayern. Off the top of your head, where do you see that? Who do you see taking the day?
I think Madrid has the capacity to beat them home and away. This
I think
Bayern
that's
team,
harsh.
this Bayern team has not impressed me one bit. Regardless of how much they win in the Bundesliga and how they are able to roll over some of the team or most of the teams in the Bundesliga, I still think that they leave a lot to be desired performance-wise. Most of it will be down to companies' inexperience, because I think that they've actually got a decent squad, maybe not a world-class squad, the kind of squad that we would expect from a Bayern team, but the squad is decent enough. I think it was last week that they lost to Feyenoord 3-0 or 4-0. The kind of result that you see them get sometimes, it baffles you and you wonder, when did Bayern become this bad? Bayern, whenever they face teams of Feyenoord caliber, you'd expect a whitewash, maybe like a 6-0 or
Yes.
6-1. But now they struggle to get results. So I think that based on their performances this season, and I'm saying this acknowledging the fact that Madrid or Real Madrid have also not been at their best, but based on their performance this season, based off the quality that they have in the team, based on the fact that Madrid usually seem to find their level at that stage of the season, February onwards, based
The
on the fact
business
that
end of the
Mbappe,
season.
exactly, Mbappe has suddenly found form and is now 2 goals behind Robert Lewandowski on the La Liga scoring charts. I would give Real Madrid a 95% chance of beating them home and away.
Ahmed, do you agree?
The only difference I have is I'm not sure about uh, visiting them home and away, but I also definitely think they will go through.
Milan versus PSV. PSV handed Liverpool their first loss of the Champions League. A weak Liverpool, we must say. But a win is a win regardless. They fought their way back and they won the match. Considering Milan's struggles, before I proceed with the question, the knockout phase is happening on the 11th and 12th of February. The second leg is immediately the next week, 18th and 19th. So that is about 2 weeks from now. PSV Milan, if that eventually becomes the fixture, that has to be said. Is that a match that Milan can navigate? Ahmed.
Yeah, definitely. Depending on the version of Milan you get to see on the day, that is one factor you should include. Uh, that
Ahmed.
is one factor you can see. We faced Madrid, a game I expected that we were never to come out. You understand? We went there to Bernabeu and came back with all 3 points. You understand? Depending on the version of Milan you get. Just last week we faced Girona. We were almost going to throw that away. A team that won 3-1 against Madrid almost threw away a 1-0 win against Girona. Now we went away to Dynamo Zagreb, a team that an unconvincing Bayern Munich destroyed by 8-2. Is it 8 or 9? We went there, we became clowns, we lost. So I wouldn't promise you, because I remember last week I said we were never going to lose to Dynamo Zagreb. I said worst case scenario we were going to get a draw. So I wouldn't promise you anything against
I didn't
PSV.
say anything. Thank God I didn't say anything last week.
I wouldn't promise you anything against PSV. There is a factor that you have to include depending on the version of Milan you see, or depending on how happy Leao is on the night. Because it seems like everything has to go through Leao. A happy Leao is a good Milan side. Once Leao is struggling, he seems to lack ideas. So I must tell you, the tie is 50-50.
Okay. Before the end of the show tonight, we would usual stay or go segment. And our stay or go segment tonight is on AC Milan. Ahmed, please, before you ask the whole
Can we
25
do that
players
now?
to go. No, we cannot do
Can we
that
do that
now.
now?
To close all the players.
Please include the
All the
Ahmed,
players
management,
in the team.
not just the players.
Ahmed, please, you cannot ask all the players to go. Please, very important. That's a very important instruction. You cannot ask all
Okay.
the players to go. So we'll be having that later in the show. Enough said about the Champions League. Liverpool has shown their dominance. Atalanta put up a good fight against Barcelona, Camp Nou, came out with a 2-2 draw. City won, and the expected teams have qualified in different capacities. Atletico Madrid qualified as a top 8, and that is commendable, we must say. Leverkusen also. And now we're going to go to transfer news and updates. And under this section, there's an important discussion I want us to have. And that is the discussion of money versus passion. And we're having that discussion because we are seeing the Saudi League coming to Europe and pick the best potentials. In the beginning, they were picking washed up players that needed to secure pension and life insurance. But now they are coming in to pick players at their prime. Just this night, Nassr that's Cristiano Ronaldo's club, just signed Duran from Aston Villa for 77 million. Now, Duran is 20 years old. He's not 32, he's not 34. Yinka, money versus passion. What is happening in football?
Well, the game has, I wouldn't say always been commercialized, but it's been commercialized for a long time now. And you know, the it's hard to say that players should not want to take their own part of the very large cake that is football money. I also find it quite hypocritical that people often bash players that decide to, move from one club to another just based off money, just because of money. I mean, the entire essence for working or the entire essence for waking up every day to go to a job and try to make a living is to make money. I understand that in football there are other components that come to play, like loyalty, like passion, like building a
Influence.
legacy, and but as much as those things are important, you also have to factor money into the equation. Money is just as important, and whether you like it or not, this football that we all watch is a job for some people. There are people that work as kit men. They work, they earn money. You would not expect the kit man to come to work to, take care of the footballer's kid just because he's passionate about the job. It's because the money is good. The money is good. There are groundsmen that take care of the pitches. There are kitchen staff. There are, so many people. And even if you want to compare it to individual persons like myself and yourself, why do we work? We work because we want to earn a living. There's no way you're
Of
going to
course.
earn a living if money is not involved. Now, if I put it to you as a Milan fan, that you had a chance to work with Milan and not as a footballer now, just as a normal, let's say, social media handler, have a chance to work with Milan as a social media handler. Milan calls you and offers you, hypothetically, say, £20,000 a year. That's just hypothetically. And then another club calls you, say, I'm not even going to use Milan's rival now. I'm not going to use
Palamo.
AC. Yeah, say Palermo or Sampdoria calls you and says, "No, they like the kind of job that you do, and they're willing to offer you £50,000 a year for the same job." Are you
Samson
going
will
to
tell us he has
honestly
always
tell me
supported
that?
them as king.
Are you going to honestly tell me that money is not going to play a huge role? And I'm not saying you have to choose Sampdoria. I'm just saying that money is really important, that you're going to have to think about it really, really deeply before you make a choice. Because
I,
that's
I, I, will,
times two, you know,
I will remember how much I love Guardiola.
Quaglarella.
Guardiola,
So money is a very important factor, and I find it very funny when people just dismiss it and say, "Oh, this person has lost my respect because he has joined a particular club for money." I think money is just something that you have. So when it comes to passion versus money, while I think that passion is very important, I mean we all have to put passion into everything we do. But we also deserve to be rewarded for that passion that we put in the game, that passion that we carry into the field to win tackles. We need to be rewarded handsomely for it. So if someone is saying they are willing to give me a buttload of money to show passion on the field, I'm definitely going to go for it.
okay. Yinka, just to build on what you said, I've given two players uh, that insisted that football was a job to them. If you remember Bennett Asuekoto of Tottenham
Yes.
and Gareth Bale of Tottenham, they they are open about their emotions about the sport, and they consider it as a job. It's just a job to
It
them.
is it
Fortunately,
is a job.
fortunately, Fortunately for them, they are talented and it has worked out. But then, Yinka, there's a school of thought that believes that for a 20 years old going to Saudi Arabia, yes, the money is guaranteed, but is the football progression guaranteed? Before you answer, I think Ahmed should say something on that. Duran's game is Boniface lost because they actually were chasing Duran and Boniface, and for whatever reason, they've picked Duran over Boniface. So Ahmed, as somebody with a deep knowledge of football, going to Saudi at age 20, does it not impact on your football progression in any way? Because it's like going to the wilderness with money. Anyways, Ahmed.
Yes, it does impact on your football progression. But if we look at the bigger picture, it is always going to end up this way. Many years back, we used to have footballers that played for passion, the likes of Maldini, the likes of Javier Zanetti, who played for their childhood teams. You understand? And even Francesco Totti, he had a lucrative offer from AC Milan, but he chose to stay with Boy Roma. But like Inka said earlier on, he said football has been commercialized. We have the administrative bodies making all sort of money, putting the welfare of players as a secondary. You understand? They are not even considering the welfare of players, because we've heard many times that players are complaining about how tough football schedule is in recent times, and there has been no reaction or no feedback from the football authorities to correct that aspect of the game. But why would the football authorities be making so much in commercial revenue, and those who are actually the key component of football business, the actual footballers, they can't leverage on? And you should know they have a certain number of years, active years. For every footballer, averagely they can't play more than, let's say, 10, 12 years at the top of football chain. So it is they are actually led to make such decisions. And you understand, for many footballers, football is a means of survival. I wouldn't lie to you. I once played football, not because it is easy to do or play, but because it is a way to survive, especially for people from a certain part of the world. Football is a way of life, it's a way of survival. So anywhere the money is, you definitely see people head in that direction. So I'm not surprised Duran would go to Saudi Arabia. In fact, if he was my brother, I would advise him to do that, because money is to be made. That is language football is saying in recent times, because everywhere you look, the number of matches are increasing, the number of competitions are increasing. No, there is no welfare for footballers, so you have to look out for yourself, and that's how you can do that and ensure that you get the bag.
I mean, if you look at it, yeah, I was just going to add that if you look at it, recently the way that players are dropping with long-term injuries, ACL injuries, it's alarming. If you are extremely lucky as a footballer, you would get a 15-year career. A 15-year career would go there. Yes, if you are extremely lucky. For most footballers, they do not even get, up to that. So we're talking about a short career span. You and I that do not, play football can actually work for 30, 40 years, go to our office, come back, it's part of our daily lives. But for a footballer, you actually get, say, 10 years, if you are lucky. Sometimes it could be even less than that, because you could play. Duran could decide to stay at Aston Villa, for example, and decide to play for passion and career progression. And next season, he picks up a career-threatening injury. From then on, everybody begins to discard him. Now, what he earns now, he may not even earn it in the next 5 years, because people would now see him as, would I say, second-grade product, because it can no longer offer, it doesn't have that capacity to reach potential that it was built to reach previously. So I say make hay while the sun shines. When you're able to make that money, make that money. If there's possibility to leave Saudi, possibly after 2, 3, 4 years, and come back to Europe, he still has age on his side. He can always do that. If he decides to stay in Saudi for the rest of his career, then there's nothing. It is not everybody that plays football that will be remembered. There are many players that have played in the past, that played probably, that played the best of football, played for legacy, played for passion, and we still don't remember them till now. But those players, if they are played for money, for example, they would at least know that they played for something. They are good in front of their families. They've taken their parents out of poverty. They've taken their families out of poverty, and I think that's also very important. It's not just about the career. Look,
Well, can you guys hear me?
yes,
Yes.
Uh, Speaking of players that have gone and come back, if you remember Carrasco uh, of Atletico Madrid now, I don't know if he's still at Atletico Madrid. He went to China, made some good money, and he found his way back to Europe. You remember Oscar
even
from Chelsea?
what's his name? Oscar recently left China. I know he hasn't.
Yes.
I don't think he's coming back to Europe. I think he's going to South
He went to
America.
Brazil.
Yeah, but he played in China for a long time. Played his football. Obviously, for that kind of player, legacy does not matter to him. But he can be rest assured that if he decides to retire today, it's good, and he does not have to worry about finances or what his family is going to eat or what his family is going to live on. Because whether you like it or not, where these players have come out from, it usually, for lack of a better phrase, one in a million kind of situation. He's probably the only one that has made it out of a community of very, very poor people. So you're not just talking about his immediate family relying on him. You probably have a whole community of people, extended family, and relying on him, for that breakthrough. I think Carlos Tevez mentioned at some point that he had so many people relying on him financially. Patrice Evra
Yeah,
also said the same thing when he was asked why I have not retired. So for some of these players, it's like that. You cannot have that kind of burden on you and then decide that, it is financial, it is um, legacy that
it's
you want to play
legacy.
for. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Go and ask Manuel Boy. If he made enough money, maybe he would not have gone that route.
Exactly.
Anyways, it's an interesting topic, and but then the funny thing is the Saudi league is expanding, and it looks like they have a plan to remain competitive and to eventually compete with the traditional leagues, even though that is still a long way out. We'll see how it pans out in the next few years. Everybody should hold this player well now.
Part
It's,
of their
it,
blueprint is to win the hosting right of 2030 World Cup.
I think they already won that,
they
if
they
I'm not
won that
mistaken.
right already. They won that right already.
Yes, so I
I
think
think
so I just
they just want to build
so
a
that was
robust league now. So aside from that, in the transfer window, it's been quiet. Uh, we've heard
Wait, sorry,
matters.
sorry to cut you short. It's 2034 that they won. 2034.
Oh, 2024. Okay, okay.
Yes.
Uh, it's been quiet in the transfer window. A lot of deals have come stock. Jimenez, Milan is pricing Jimenez like uh, like a woman that is pricing Pepe in the market. That shows you how irresponsible Milan's management can be. Martin Astel of Bayern has requested to leave the club. We've heard of links to United, to Chelsea. But then One of the confirmed transfers that I have here is that of Komuzu from Fiorentina, if I'm correct, as a centre back for Fiorentina, is going to Napoli. I do not understand why Napoli are getting a centre back when they need to replace somebody in attack. Mika, any thoughts on that?
Well, it beats me as well. I'm not sure why they've made that move. The only thing I can think of is they're already thinking of the future. I also think that when they're missing Bongiorno and is it Ramani, I think those are their two starting centre backs. They are just one injury away from Juan Jesus, and that is calamity if you ask me. So I just think that they are trying to improve quality in depth and also look to the future because Komuzo is quite young.
Yeah, and he's an interesting centre back. I must say, I saw him in action in last match against Lazio. Yeah, and it was quite impressive. Cass, are you back with us?
I think if you guys can hear me.
We can
I
hear
can hear
you
you.
now, but we
We
cannot
can
see
hear
you.
you, can't see you.
I can't see you though.
John Cena.
The camera
But
is
we can
on.
hear
I'm
you.
wondering why. I'm
I
wondering
think
why
it's
you guys
just
can
going to
see me. I
take a
can see
while
you guys.
before. Just be patient. I think it's going to come back on.
Okay. We are going straight for our player focus, and we are talking about Robert Lewandowski. Before I go deep into the player focus, I want to inform our viewers that on our next episode, we'll be having a guest panelist. He's an interesting panelist and is representing the red arm of London, Arsenal fan. So all this Saka slander from Yinka and Cass, you people will answer for it next
Bad
week.
slander.
An Albert slander, you will answer for it on our next episode. So we're having a guest panelist on our next episode. So back to our player focus. We're talking about Robert Lewandowski. Currently, he's the highest goal scorer in the Champions League with 9 goals. He shares that honor with Guirassy of Borussia Dortmund. He's the third all-time highest goal scorer with 103 goals in 128 appearances. He has a goal ratio of 0.8, which is better than Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, who both share 0.79 goal ratio. Yinka, Lewandowski, the man, the myth, the legend. Tell us about Lewandowski. I have my reservations about him, though, but let me hear from my panelists first.
I don't think there's anything that we are going to say about Lewandowski that has not already been said by people in the past. I mean, this guy is basically a sniper, and it's not surprising that at age 36, he's still
Aging
firing
like
on
fine
all,
wine.
yes, on all cylinders. It took some time to adapt to Spanish football when he arrived at Barcelona. But now that he's gotten a hang of it, he's just firing. Currently on top of La Liga's top scorers chart, and I think he's got close to 30 goals this season at age 36. I mean, younger strikers, can only even dream of, such numbers. So, like I said previously, there's nothing that we want to say about him that's not already been done, that's not already been said. One thing that I would just like to add is that apart from his goal scoring prowess, he also has this knack of, getting involved in build-up play. He does look like your typical nine, your typical number nine that just needs service, to convert. But when you look at him very well, you notice how he, drops deep and tries to link up, bring others into play, and then he's always in the position to finish up. So I think he'll go down as one of the greatest forwards, of his generation. maybe not of all time, but I would say arguably of all time, but definitely of his generation, because we've seen quite a lot of fantastic strikers, over the year.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the stand as regards that your best striker of the generation. I'm coming to that. But finally, from you, can you tell me your most memorable Lewandowski performance?
Sorry, can I tell you what?
Your most memorable Lewandowski performance.
The line is breaking. My most memorable what?
Lewandowski performance.
Okay, most memorable Lewandowski performance would have to be his poker. At least when I think about Lewandowski, that's the first thing that comes to mind. It would have to be his poker against Real Madrid, if I remember very well, with Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. That I cannot remember how the goals were scored again. But whenever I think about Robert Lewandowski, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, even before his 9-minute hat trick, or was it 3 minutes? I can't remember. Even before his 9-minute hat trick, those four
Jose
goals that he
Mourinho's
scored
Madrid.
against yes, against Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid.
Ahmed, Lewandowski.
Well,
What do you have? What?
Yinka has almost said it all. He's a legend of the game. He's an amazing striker. He's currently in his 36th years. He's 36 years as at now. So you look around, you can hardly find any younger striker who is doing what he's doing at his level. And he has achieved a whole lot. And yeah, his legendary status is not in doubt, but time and chance happens to everyone. He's someone who has been a little under the shadow of the greatness of Messi and Ronaldo. If he had been in a time where those two never existed, we would be speaking of Lewandowski in a different light or different form, because he has done a whole lot for football. Just look at the Champions League scoring record. Yes, it's looking ordinary because Messi and Ronaldo has raised the bar significantly high. Before now, it used to be Shevchenko and Raul. And I'm not sure that Champions League goal record was any more than 50 goals or thereabout. Now Lewandowski has double of that. But we are not screaming over the top of our head because Messi and Ronaldo has made those numbers look ordinary. So if they had not existed, Lewandowski is someone who should be given good status, if I'm not mistaken. So he's someone who would never be forgotten in the world of football. His achievements with Dortmund, with Bayern Munich, and now with Barcelona, and he's still on top. So he's someone who would not go forgotten easily. Kaz, good to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
Let me tell you my reservation about Lewandowski. My reservation is that he stayed too long in the Bundesliga. Of the top 5 leagues, the Bundesliga is regarded as the farmers' league. No, top 4.
That's not a negative, in my opinion.
Wait now, he stayed too long in the Bundesliga for me, and he racked up a lot of those numbers in Germany. I'm going to. I'm not, Cass, you're not telling us about Lewandowski. I want to put you on the spot straight. I'm going to compare Lewandowski to another striker of repute, and I'm going to compare him to Benzema. Lewandowski, Benzema. Who does it better for you?
Well, I think Yinka would know me very well. I've never been a fan of Benzema for a very long time because I wanted to I wanted to like him at some point, but it was really hard because he presented himself like a lazy striker, like a striker that
Did
no, I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying he presented himself like a lazy striker. He was so much under the shadow of Ronaldo. Ronaldo was taking the shine when he just like the same way Bale in Madrid did a lot of good things, but then nobody will talk about Bale today. It will always be about see Ronaldo. However, Lewandowski has always been on the spot for a very long time. Been on the spot for a very long time. But then it's very close to say one is better than the other. I would have any because late in Benzema's time in Madrid, he did a lot of very fantabulous things that he almost became irreplaceable in Real Madrid. However, in Madrid, everybody's replaceable. They don't care. But it's hard. It's a close call for me. But I would still pick Lewandowski over Benzema if you ask me anytime.
He's not ashamed to be under the
Yinka,
shadows of Ronaldo.
Lewandowski or Benzema?
It's a tough one. We're talking about two very good strikers, two really, really great strikers. But I'm going to pick Lewandowski just based off numbers. I think Lewandowski has more numbers. I think that for
Why
me,
are you shaking your head?
Lewandowski,
5 Champions League.
well, Champions League is a collective effort now. One person does not win
Can
Champions
remove
League.
Benzema. It's okay.
Hold on. We're comparing two individuals now, not two
Two
teams.
teams. Yeah,
I think
definitely.
that based off their numbers alone, Lewandowski has better numbers. But I'm just going to add one more thing. I think it was last week or two weeks ago that you asked me about Hazard or Salah. Who would I prefer to watch in terms of beauty, how they play? I'll prefer Benzema.
And
But if I'm going to war and my money is on winning a game, who would I most likely pick in my team to guarantee me goals? I think I would rather go with Lewandowski.
Ahmed, is it Lewandowski for you too?
It's a hat trick for Lewandowski.
Now, wow. Now only me did this Benzema camp.
that's a dagger in the heart.
Anyways, besides these two, does Suarez coming anywhere?
Of course.
Suarez is a bully of a striker. Suarez is
Definitely.
that kind of striker that
Definitely.
like Inka said, if you want the beauty, you go for this. If you want the war, but if you are going for like a real world war, I would rather take a Suarez because Suarez would
The
actually
warlord.
do the
I think
impossible.
Suarez does, although I don't think Suarez has as much numbers as Lewandowski as well, but Suarez combines the attributes of Benzema and Lewandowski perfectly.
Beauty and the beast.
Exactly. Beautiful to
Exactly.
watch and very serious-minded in terms of goal getting.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Suarez,
He has very poor numbers in the Champions League too.
yes, but overall, I think he has about maybe close to 400 career goals, if I'm not mistaken. So he's done well for himself. Lewandowski is
A legend for Ajax, a legend for Liverpool. At the same
exactly.
time, a legend for Barcelona.
He has been
Come on.
terrorizing teams since he was at Ajax. In fact,
I'll
even
never
before
forget
then.
I'll never forget what he did to Nesta. Champions League, Ajax versus AC Milan. The game ended 2-2. That was the first time I came across Suarez.
Suarez is a demonic striker. I remember he won the European Golden Shoe at Barcelona, and I think he missed 6 or 9 matches. From I think that was when he had a suspension, or I can't remember if it was at
Yes,
Barcelona or Liverpool.
he was suspended at Barcelona.
Even at Liverpool, he won the Golden Boot. I think he scored 31 goals in 34 or 35 matches. Suarez is a fantastic striker. But then these are great strikers. Suarez, Benzema, Lewandowski. It's just a pity that
Can
One,
we put something on the spot?
yeah,
Of
put me on
course.
the spot.
Go for it. Go
Who
for
will
it.
who will fill in the shoes of these legends after they've left the game?
My brother, that's where I'm coming to. If you come down below those three, there is only Harry Kane. Only Harry Kane is the only current striker. Okay, then we have Lautaro Martinez, who is a step down from Harry Kane. But then strikers are scarce. The beautiful
Would you
game
put Haaland in the
is
conversation?
ah Alan is
He's
in the
still young.
conversation.
I think he's still
Alan is in
young,
the
and Alan
conversation.
still has a lot to develop in terms of including himself into the game. Because the way he zeroes off the game once the game is not going too well makes people now start looking away from the
But
numbers. However, the number is part of the game.
his
It's
Well,
numbers are
crazy.
scary.
Yeah. Yes.
well,
Alan
I think
has
that
47 goals in 46 Champions League matches.
I
That
was
is
just going to mention that it depends
that
on
is
the school of
madness.
thought that you have. Now, some people belong to the school of thought of they want aesthetics when it comes to football. Or how do you apply yourself in certain situations? Do you drop deep? People that are in school of thought of Thierry Henry, links of play. Some people just want you to get the goals. And at the end of the day, I think the numbers is going to count more, regardless
Yeah.
of how good you were as a player. If people look at your numbers and you did maybe 990 goals in 1,000 games, nobody's going to care that you did not link up when you were playing football or you did
I agree
not
with you.
move to
Absolutely.
the left side. So
100%.
if
Yeah.
Alan continues like this without injuries, that guy is going to smash most of the record stats we're currently
A
talking
lot of
about now.
records. Well,
He's going to
that's
smash them completely.
that is yet to be seen. An interesting discussion around strikers. We'll go straight into the coach focus, and that is going to be coach focus because we are discussing a coach of a club that is highly critical of, and we are talking about
Don't tell me it's
Mikel
Arsenal.
Arteta. We are talking about Mikel Arteta.
The
Mikel
man,
Arteta
the
just
man who was the brain behind Pep Guardiola.
the CPU of Guardiola. He
Okay.
has finished third in the Champions League. I think he's second in the league, but he has bottled two leagues back to back, and the jury are out for him. He's spending. We are not seeing anything. What do you make of Mikel Arteta as a manager?
Actually, as a manager, Arteta is a fantastic manager. We can't take it. We can't take that away from him. And say
Fantastic.
the good is I would say fantastic, and
No, that is a very big
I'm
word.
standing by it. No. So the reason why he's a fantastic manager is if you look at where Arsenal were and where they are now, you can't really say it's not centered around the effectiveness of Arteta's style of play. However, Arsenal has a model that I think is problematic. And when I say problematic, I think Yinka made mention of it some time ago that they are at every era in their history, there's always something missing to make them become one of the best team in the world. And they
They
always
need a
fail to
Lewandowski.
fill they always fail to fill that void. Now look at I just read yesterday that they are linked up to what's his name? 60 million to
Watkins.
this Aston Villa striker.
Watkins.
Watkins. When we are talking of strikers,
I think they are listening to our show. We mentioned that on this show some episodes ago.
for me, I don't think Watkins is the
Yeah,
solution to
you
that
don't
problem.
mention Watkins for us now.
I think I mentioned the kind of the caliber of strikers they can realistically go for us at this point in time. I mentioned Osimhen. Watkins was one of those I listed.
But
Okay, that's
why
continue.
spend 60 million? So why spend 60 million on a Watkins when you can spend similar to get another striker who will give you, because like you said, what the kind of striker you need is a striker that can put fears in the mind of defenders, not strikers that they know they are their regular friends. They drink at the pub all weekend, so they know what they can do. They know what the best they can do is probably give you 2 goals, go on injury, then come back again, give you 2 goals. They will give you the 12 goals in the season, and then we'll say, oh, they tried their best. No, that's not what Arsenal needs at this point. Arsenal can actually face any team, but they need that nine, that point man that would actually give them those goals when they need it the most. They almost drew the game tonight.
Okay,
If not for the fact that VAR came to their rescue, you can imagine.
let,
So,
let me ask you, uh, on this striker situation, do you think Arteta is the one not wanting a striker, or the club is not providing him one?
I think it's both ways, because the club cannot buy for you what you don't want. I don't think he has ever come out to say, "Oh, I didn't request for this player and they gave me this player." However, if you know the problem of the club, the way you can subtly come, even probably when you're being interviewed, because even it's protecting the management. Every time he's being interviewed, he will say, "Oh, don't worry, we are fine the way we are." When they say, "Oh, why are we using avatars?" He will say, "No, we know what we are doing. That is what we need at this time." You know what you need. Go for it. Say it. Let people know that you put your request forward, and this is not your fault anymore. And
He's
I
going
think
to lose his
there's
job.
no, at the end
Is
of the
that
day, look at
healthy?
him himself. Yeah.
Is that
So,
healthy? I think he's being professional.
You can't
are
hear
He's
me.
going
you
to
are
lose
you
his job.
trying to throw? Are you trying to do jabs at Conte here? You can't do that.
Yinka, Yinka,
Yeah.
before you, I think I will do this job, but I want to ask now. Taz has said Arteta is a fantastic manager. Do you agree? That is question number one. Question number two, if eventually he loses his job, do you see him as another top team?
Well, fantastic is a bit excessive. Um, I think he's a decent manager. I wouldn't say fantastic. I was speaking to Tosin, who we intend to get on the show next week. He's an Arsenal fan, and I was speaking to him, and we were talking about Arsenal, and the conclusion that we made, or we both agreed rather, that at this point we believe that Arteta's job at Arsenal may actually be over. I want to liken it with Spalletti's situation at Inter. That when you're coming out of a certain period, for most fans we call it banter era, period where you're going 2-3 seasons without actually having direction, and you're just the laughing stock
The
among all
period
of
of
the
mediocrity.
exactly among the
Just
big
say
teams.
Milan. Just say when you are Milaning. Yeah,
There,
you understand later.
there are some coaches that help you and take you out of that period and provide you with stability. Now, that is what Spalletti did with Inter. He brought Inter out of banter era, provided Inter with stability. I believe that is what Arteta has also done with Arsenal, brought them out of that period where they were the laughing stock among the big boys in the Premier League, and has given them, some sort of stability. They are now challenging regularly for the Premier League, even though most fans know that they would most likely not win it. But they are there. They are up there. They are putting their, they are right there. But at this point, it looks like that is Arteta's ceiling. Arsenal needs a coach that can then come in and take them to the next level, which is what Inter did with Antonio Conte. A coach that is guaranteed, that is a a coach that has seen it, has done it, a coach that will come in and will command respect of management and say, okay, this is the player that I want, and I'm going to get you trophies if you get me this player. I don't think that Arteta is at that level yet, which is why he's still coaches that win do not care about philosophy, except you have Pep Guardiola. It is only Pep Guardiola that is the coach that will know that, okay, sticks with a certain philosophy and wins with it. Or most of the other coaches, they do what they need to do to win. So Arteta is still at the stage where he's saying, okay, I do need a striker, but I want a certain kind of striker that fits to my game plan. And at this point in Arsenal's Arsenal just needs to win. They just need to win trophies. It is no more about game plan. We've seen the game plan. We've seen it over 2 seasons now. We now need you to deliver trophy. So if you're not delivering trophies, then I think it's time to go. So I think that it's reached the ceiling. They need to go out there, look for another striker, another coach that can take them to another level, and hopefully that helps them. But that is not to say that that's the only problem. They've obviously got recruitment problems as well in terms of transfer window and all of that. But just addressing this Arsenal Arteta situation, I think that it's reached its level. Personally.
In your opinion, who is that coach that fits in this category and that is realistic?
Well, off the top of my head, I'll say maybe an Ancelotti,
Klopp?
Jurgen Klopp.
Klopp is fixed up.
I'm just
Klopp,
we're just I'm not talking
Klopp,
based on
Klopp
availability
cannot
now. I'm
take
just
their
giving you
job.
coaching.
Yeah, I said realistic.
Oh, okay. We're being realistic. Well, let me think. I have to think really deep about it. Antonio Conte.
Sorry, why you are
It's
thinking?
hard.
I want to put Samson on the spot because Samson keeps putting everybody on the spot.
Okay.
Is Wenger a fantastic manager? Can you still hear us? Are you here?
I think it's gone.
Oh.
I also agree with him that Wenger was actually a very fantastic manager.
But if I may ask, because if you are using the same yardstick for, though Arteta, I'm not, in terms of experience, Arteta might not have the experience of Wenger. However, Wenger never won anything major with everything he had as well. And if we are using the same anything
Wenger
major,
Wenger won the Premier League, was it twice or 3 times?
Did your unbeaten record?
Hold on. I'll try to explain exactly why I think that Wenger is a fantastic manager. When Wenger joined Arsenal, Arsenal were almost at the same level that they were when Arteta joined. Now Wenger brought stability to the club and also brought trophies. Now it was Wenger that took them to the level that, at least for our generation, that we now became familiar with. We saw them as winners. We saw the club as a club that can challenge for trophies and actually win trophies. We sort of got used to that. But like every, they call it law of diminishing return. When they reached their peak, obviously they came down. So during the later stage of his career, obviously there was the downtime. And you could even attribute that to, the frugal nature of Arsenal, the frugal way that Arsenal decided to conduct business, especially when they decided to build Emirates Stadium. So they were really tight on funds. Their aim at that time was just to qualify for the Champions League. Now, if the club sets a target of qualifying for Champions League, then it's very obvious that the players that they will be getting for you around that time will be players that will qualify for Champions League, not actual players that will win titles for you. Now, at that time, they were getting players like Chamak, players like I can't remember some of those the Abu Dhabi. Alexander Lev. Those were not world beaters. They were players that came to us now that Arsene Wenger actually made,
Bentner or Bartender, what's his name?
Niklas Bentner. I mean, those are players that we were expecting him to win the Premier League with. The problem that people had with Arsene Wenger was that they felt like he had a lot of say in the board and he was the one actually influencing these transfers. But the truth is, even though I'm not particularly sure if he had a lot of say in the board, but the truth is, at that time, Arsenal were very, very tight on spending. Because when you commit a lot of funds to building a new stadium, you obviously have to repay the loan. So a lot of money that's coming in goes out. You cannot really spend that much in the transfer market. So it became a problem. But in terms of where Wenger took Arsenal from and where he took them to, I would call Wenger a very fantastic. I mean, the players players that were not doing particularly well, like Thierry Henry at Juventus, Patrick Vieira at AC Milan, Dennis Bergkamp from Inter, players that they did have talent, but they were not doing particularly well at their clubs. It took them, brought them to Arsenal, and made them, superstars, and won trophies with them.
So
sorry,
now,
guys,
if
can you tell me?
don't you now think that the main problem with Arsenal is not with the managers now? It's probably with the model that Arsenal has decided to adopt after building Emirates.
But the model has changed now. They are no longer building a stadium. There's money on ground. Obviously, they've been spending crazy money. They spent 100 million on Declan Rice just 2 seasons ago. They spent 90 million on Pepe. They spent how much on Kai Havertz?
50 million on Partey.
So there's money now compared to when Wenger left. I don't know if they've paid off the stadium, but obviously there's more room to maneuver in terms of finances. So they actually have the money to spend. It's just that I believe that Mikel Arteta wants to play in a certain style and is demanding for certain type of players. Those players will get you beautiful football, but are they winners? Are they players that will guarantee trophies? There was a time that when Antonio Conte came to Inter, he was actually asking for players like Arturo Vidal. Sometimes you need players that have done it. Players that will come and tell those young boys like Nicolo Barella and Stefan Sensi
this is what we need to do.
This is what you need to do during this period. When you suffer a loss, this is how you bounce back from a loss and stuff like that. But when you don't have those players, I don't think there's anybody in the Arsenal squad that has won it. Okay, maybe Raheem Sterling that has won the Premier League, but just remember that they have Raheem Sterling. I think it's and Zinchenko. Sorry, they've got Zinchenko as well. So they go only those two. And you would not even consider those two players leaders. They were just part of the team at Manchester City. You would not consider them Zinchenko was a bit part player at Man City, for example. Sterling was a key player, but he does not give up that leadership. He does not give you that leadership feeling or that leadership vibe that you'd usually get from, say, a Rodri, for example, or a Vincent Company, or
Walker,
or Walker. So how do they transmit that winning spirit into the team? They're just two players, and they were not even key players. They were not even key players in terms of leadership. How do they transmit it to the Arsenal team? So I think that Arsenal as a club, along with Arteta, are failing to realize that they need to take that next step in order to win. They're just fine with playing that beautiful football, competing for Champions League spots, and then getting back in group.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, welcome back, Samson. Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you now.
Sorry about the break in
transmission. I can hear him though.
Go AC Milan. What do you guys think?
I think everybody should go. Even the management should go at this point.
Can you hear me?
We can
hear you, Samson.
Can you see me?
I cannot see you. I can't see you, Sha, but if others can see you, that's fine.
Okay, I think we should just do the stay or go for Milan. Can you hear? Everybody can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you talking?
I think his connection is still buffering.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll mention the player. I will start from Yinka to Ahmed Erkas. Are we good to go?
Okay.
Good to go.
So I will start with Florenzi.
Florenzi is still at Milan?
Yes, he is.
Very serious. I don't know.
Florenzi is still at Milan.
He's out injured.
Oh, wow.
Out until late February.
Wow, what a way to start. Samson, Florenzi, no. Obviously, he
Yes,
has to
so
go. The fact that
Is
he
there
didn't
an
go,
option?
Wait, it should
Is
go.
there an option after
It
going?
should not. It should not be an option.
Is
he
there
has
an
to go.
imprisonment option? Like, if this person just can't go, this person needs to be in prison.
no. Let him go. Let him go. Don't imprison him. Let him go, please.
He has to go.
All right.
Okay. I believe we all agree that he has to go, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Except
yeah.
cars.
Maybe he wants to go to
That's
Arsenal.
okay.
Oh, it should go. We don't
The
need him. We should go.
next player, Chukwueze.
Samu. I think Samu should go as well. I don't think he has what it takes for a club as big as Milan. Maybe in La Liga where they fancy all this football. But in Serie A where the football is much more tactical, especially for big teams. In most cases, in Serie A you have 20 teams. You are playing against 19 teams. Out of those 19 teams, 12 will probably sit back and be content with the draw. Players like Chukwueze find it hard against teams like that. I don't think he has what it takes. He should go.
Ahmed. That's
I think it should go. But for depth, I don't know. I don't know who else we have to
But
come in for that wing. But he should go because I don't
You
know.
replace
He should
him,
go.
Nick.
With who?
you
Not.
won't go.
I know my club. My
You
club, we
won't go
don't buy
for free
players.
now.
We only price players.
we are better with nothing than having them. That's the issue.
Okay.
Ahmed is angry.
Bring me that my
The,
Nigerian from the Milan Zero.
the next player I'm going to mention is Jovic.
He should
Just
go.
throw him away, please.
He should go. He should go.
So Jovic should go. Let me give you a
Yes.
controversial one. Rafael Leao.
He should go. He should go. I'm going first. He should go. Let him go. We are tired. We have seen enough. Let him go.
Rafael
Ahmed.
Not
Leao.
turn up.
I would say
Turn up against
Rafael
Zagreb.
Leao should go
Should
as
go.
well. And the reason I'm saying that is not because he's a bad player. It's because I think that for some reason, either subconsciously or unconsciously, Milan have somehow tied their entire game. It's like those players unconsciously have tied their entire game to Rafael Leao's performance. So when Leao is not on point, it's almost like the entire team is not on point. So I think that, if a team needs to do well, the whole team has to do well, not just one player. And if one player is the only one that's carrying the team, then for me, it's beginning to look like a problem. So just let him go, build a proper team, a proper squad, and hopefully you guys get it right in the transfer market and, go from there.
I agree with Yinka 100%.
So it's not because he's a bad player, but
And the funniest part is whoever gets him next will stand to gain a lot because you would see a hungry Liao renewed, wanting to prove Milan wrong that you guys have lost a gem. But right now with Milan, he has reached a ceiling. He needs to go.
As long as it's not
Okay.
going under another manager that will allow his attitude, he will continue from where it stopped. I know him very well.
I
But let's
don't
move
care.
on. He
I
should
don't
go.
care where it goes. Honestly, I don't care where it goes. It should just go. The next player is Fikayo Tomori.
He
he
should
can stay.
He should stay.
That's
Cass,
as no answer.
Tomori should stay.
Tomori should go. He should go.
Ah,
He should go.
this
No,
man
he
will
should
sell
go.
all the players.
It's too. Anybody can dribble. Anybody. He's too error prone. Maybe he lacks confidence. I don't know what has happened. He should go. I think Juve wants him. He should go.
Personally, I would sell Tomori. I don't know why he's staying, honestly. The next player, Musa.
Oh,
He
Yunus.
should go a long time ago. He should
Sorry,
go.
my job.
I don't think it's Milan quality.
He should go.
I don't.
He
I
looks.
don't think
He
it's.
looks
I don't
average.
think
He
it's any
looks like an
club's
average player.
quality.
I'm trying so much to censor my words.
Please censor it. Please.
Please,
Censor it, Ahmed, please.
but he should go.
I don't think it's
Okay.
Milan quality, so you can go.
Christian Pulisic.
Imagine we could cough out 20 million for Musa. Pavlidis went to Benfica for 14 million. We were looking for a striker. It is well.
Pavlidis is not
You said,
American.
That is the modus operandi.
Christian Pulisic.
Pulisic should
Obviously
stay.
stay.
He's deserving to stay.
Cass, do you have a contrary opinion?
No, I said he should stay.
Gabia.
It's probably one of our best players so far.
Gabia should stay. I'm sentimental towards players that grow in the country, know the language, know the club. So I think
However, we're still in our Italian quota.
so you should stay.
He should stay.
Why are you waiting so long to mention Yapstam?
Cass. Is Gabia staying, Cass?
He's staying.
Okay.
Gabia is staying.
Okay. Emerson Royal.
Is he not gone yet?
He's not gone.
Well,
He
at least
should
you're
go.
going to keep him until summer, that's for sure. But I think he should go. Well, he shouldn't have arrived in the first place. That's just the best answer. He should never have arrived. I'm not sure who did the scouting. I know they tried to do a bit of PR when he arrived and said, "Oh, he was physically something." When they did his medicals, I knew that was rubbish. But when you see the guy play football, you wonder how he's Brazilian. The guy, I don't know. That guy does not know how to play football as far as I'm concerned.
I was one of those that went to Brazil with Tifa from Ijebu.
No,
that guy.
Emerson is Congolese. He's not even from Ijebu.
He's from Ijebu. He's the
he's
father that
Congolese.
took them to Brazil.
Anyways, Theo Hernandez.
With Leo God, I think he should stay.
Well, you guys know my opinion on Thiago from the moment that Milan bought him. I've never been a fan. For the same reason that I want
you can't call him a dog.
But for the same reason that I want, well, I call him a donkey because I don't like his style of play. But I am also, wise enough to acknowledge that there's a bit of, there's quality in him. But for the same reason that I want Liao gone, I think he should also go. He and Liao are the two players that Milan depend on a lot. This season, maybe Reinders and Pulisic, have also obviously been added to that list. But over the last few years, Liao and Theo Hernandez have been the players that Milan have always depended on, and it looks like there's some sort of mental connection with that fact, to the point that when both of them are not on their game, then it affects the entire team. So I think that both of them should leave and Milan should rebuild.
France version.
Well, he has a coach that is very strict in France. A coach that is ready to whoop his ass.
Your coach is not.
So that explains it.
Your coaches are not disciplined.
Well, Conceição has come as some sort of disciplinarian, and we still haven't seen any major difference per se.
Well, if I will not lie to you, I not been one of those to blame Conceição. Reason being that he has had little time to translate whatever he wants to the team because we've been playing almost every other day. So, and I know how football works to an extent. You need a lot of time to reach your tactics and all.
Yes.
I think Pulisic also mentioned that in his interview. He said they are finding it hard to understand what the coach is trying to preach. Because every 3 days they've been playing games after game, so they have little time in practice to actually get the coach philosophy. So I'm still giving him quite some time.
Yeah, I'm not blaming Conceição for anything. I'm just saying that you do not necessarily need time to impose discipline. Tactics, I agree, but discipline, you just need to, convey your ideas to the team and let them know what you stand for and what you are not going to take. So, if he does that with Theo, maybe it might work, Theo and Leo, but it does not look like it's working with Leo. But we just have, I think that both of them have become so comfortable that they've become rotten apples in that squad anyway.
Morata.
He shouldn't have come in the first place as well, because we actually should have gone for a better striker. But as it stands, the one who is supposed to actually threaten his position is even worse than him, and that is Tammy Abraham.
Morata than the team.
I think Morata should be.
When Tammy comes on, what does he do? This is just you're asking us as a poor club. You want this dead player, you want this dead player. It's at the end of the day, we are just there's little we can. We don't really have too many options.
I mean, for all the hype that Morata gets, he has never scored more than 15 goals in a league season, if I remember very well. I honestly do not know why he keeps getting big moves.
This is PR guys, extra. The things they do for him, man. They play, my friend.
Tammy Abraham.
He should go back.
He's on loan, right?
Roman needs him. Yeah, Roman needs him more.
He should leave.
Now, wow. You know, not said the squad finish you. Okafor.
Is he not about to leave? Is he not about to leave?
You should not even wait for a transfer to get it. You should just run away. Just wake up and start running away by himself.
I think he's one of those players that, you think that they have something until you actually see them, play on a consistent basis. They might show you something, when they come in for 30 minutes appearance as subs and all of that. But when you get to rely on them consistently for 10 games in a row, then you start to see their flaws. So I would say I'm turning between leave or go. I'm not sure. It could be kept as a backup
We saw
player.
this guy with Salzburg against Milan, and it looked like prime Thierry Henry. You understand?
I think there's something there.
You should just wake up and start running away. It doesn't need to go. Just start running.
I think there might be something there, but maybe as a sub.
You got it. Not I can tell you there's nothing there. Calabria.
I mean, I'm an Inter fan, and I do not like Denzel Dumfries. Obviously, I acknowledge that he's in very good form, and I'm beginning to even have a change of mind right now. But if there are two right backs that I consider not as good as Denzel Dumfries, it would have to be Calabria and Emerson Royal. Emerson Royal is the worst.
And Milan is blessed with both.
Who is left in that squad? Because I'm
how many number of stays have we had?
Just one or two.
You guys had 3 stays.
That's to show you the level
Ahmed,
of decay in that team.
Ahmed,
Calm down. He has not mentioned Reinders and Yapstam and Magnon
Ahmed,
and
Ahmed has had Ahmed has had 4 stays. Stars have had 2 stays. Yes, now Ahmed wants Theo to stay, Gabia to stay,
Yeah.
Tomori to stay, and Pulisic.
Pulisic.
Okay. Correct.
While Cass wants Gabia and only Pulisic. Yinka wants Gabia, Tomori, and Pulisic. Okay, the man that we have all been waiting for, Pavlovic.
Yeah.
It will be if we can get a quality centre back, it will be very good as a backup. For
That
You know this
guy-
advertisement that goes like, my friend Udeme is a great man. It's Pavlovic that they were referring to.
That guy is a walking error machine, as far as I'm concerned. I think
Yeah,
that when it's
I'm,
good, it's
I'm
good.
scared.
But yeah,
I'm scared when
has
he falls.
exactly. He has more. He has a higher probability of committing errors than actually doing well in the game. So, it's not even the
Please.
kind of defender that
You guys can look for my
I
dog
want in
now.
my team.
Pavlovic stays.
Pavlovic should go, I beg. He should go
but
committing his errors somewhere else.
this conversation, as good as it is, it shows how decayed Milan as a team is.
Calm
If
down
we
now.
cannot,
There's no mention Reinders, all the good players.
I don't
Reinders,
understand how many good players.
Magnon, there's Reinders, there's Magnon, there's
You're even thinking about it is a problem.
Jimenez,
Jovi.
and there's
Okay,
the winger that I'm
okay. We are
forgetting. Loftus
We are
Cheek.
going to a powerful man
He
now.
should go.
The man from Chelsea, Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
He should
I
go.
think he should go.
Ahmed, stay or go.
You should go.
The way he took that deep breath, you will know he's tired.
When last have you seen him on the pitch of play?
Malik Thiaw.
See how she stay.
He can stay. There's something there. He just needs proper guidance.
There's something there. I can see it. There's something there. Ismail Benassa.
Throw him away. Terminate his contract.
He's expired.
Throw him away completely.
Terracciano.
He's one of those that will fill the Italian quota. Let's see,
He can
just
stay in Italian.
stay at the.
For depth, I would say he should stay. For depth, I would.
Guys,
For
when
squad
next
depth,
year
I
I
would say he
this
should stay.
advert, I will find it.
Who is that?
Advert and the like.
Like I said, for depth, it's not the major starter.
Jimenez.
He can stay as backup.
Jimenez should stay. But he should stop seeing himself like prime Ronaldinho. He should just do what is expected of him. He overdoes his stints.
Yes.
Mike
I'm getting that
Maignan.
all over again.
Like you said, it's Mike Maya. Any shot against him now, Maya. You stay, Sha, because he should stay.
I think he can stay.
Because you can't blame him too much when the defense is in shambles. Because one of the major coverings for the keeper is actually the back line as well. If anybody gets a one-on-one against you, it's either one of this, either they score you or you're able to save it, and you can't really blame him too much. Yes,
He's weak on his near post, Sha. He's very weak on his near post, and most opponents now know that. So they always test him on his near post. But apart from that, I think he can stay. He has good leadership qualities, a good goalkeeper as well. So
You see Fofana to stay,
See,
I
He
I,
should
believe.
I
stay.
see players now. I'm not saying you guys don't have players.
Danny Randa,
When
See, still stay
you
now.
should not see there are some players you are mentioning that should not even be in the stay or go section
because they will stay naturally.
because they should stay naturally. So you are just giving Yinka cheap points to throw jabs at us.
Okay, let me add bonus. Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Who?
You should go.
Zlatan.
You should go.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
What is it doing?
Well,
You should go.
my thoughts on that one is very. My thoughts are very clear. I don't think he has what it takes. He's a man child. He should go.
Thank you for your contribution. Uh, you can only agree on Pulisic, Jimenez, Malik Thiaw, Fofana, Tijani Reinders, and Mike Marian. 6 players. Imagine
Six solid
six out of
players.
25.
Six solid players.
That's a good percentage.
But I believe if we sell Rafael Leao and Theo Hernandez for good money, we can rebuild. We can rebuild well. Some
Don't
of these
count on it too
players,
much, though.
yeah, of course. Some of these players that we said should go would eventually stay as backup. We might not have a choice, but at least if Leao and Thiago fetch good money, we can rebuild. Finally, on today's show, I said our guys will put their betting skills to test. So I'm going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4 fixtures that are happening over the weekend, and you will give me your outcome and score line if you like. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. So in England, Bournemouth hosts Liverpool. Bournemouth hosts Liverpool. Think about it well. Oh. Bournemouth hosts Liverpool. Yinka?
I think Liverpool win. Liverpool are well rested. They rested players today. I specifically checked their starting 11. They rested players a lot. So I'll say Liverpool, and I think they'll score more than one goal. So Liverpool win and over 1.5.
Liverpool win and over 1.5.
Yes.
Ahmed?
Well, as much as both system surprising people is Liverpool is Milan England. So I think they win the 2-1.
2-1. That is go and over 2.5. That's
I will go with Ahmed. I think it's going to be a very close game. Bournemouth will most likely score. However, it might be very close. Probably a late winner in the 95th minute or that. But it's going to be a very close game. So maybe 2-1. Yeah, something like that.
Funny enough, I'm seeing like 4-1.
should I add my prediction?
No, okay, you
Sure,
can add your own.
sure.
Don't add 4-1 to my own, but I'm just saying that's what I'm saying.
What was
I
Yinka's prediction?
Win and
Yinka
over
said
1.5.
Liverpool win and over 1.5. If I
No
add my
scoreline.
prediction,
No
you didn't give
scoreline.
us a
I'm not
scoreline.
certain of scoreline, but I think they will score more than one goal.
If I will add my prediction, I will say a 2-2 draw.
Okay, we'll see now.
Yeah,
Time will
it's
tell.
a,
Yeah,
Pressing
after.
charge.
it's Bournemouth
Going
at
to
home. I will say a 2-2. I will say a 2-2 draw.
going to the next game.
The next match, The next match is Arsenal at home to City. Arsenal at home to City. Let me start from Cass.
Arsenal are going to City. Like I said, that will be the main first test for the third team.
Now, wow,
So
they beat Chelsea now, beat Bruges.
I don't believe Chelsea. Like I said, I don't. Chelsea has lost to. They have lost their almost 4 out of their last 5 games, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I don't. It's not. I don't really record with them so far. However, I think Arsenal might most likely win.
Eh?
I'm saying something around 2-0, 3-0, most likely.
Pick one.
So I'll say 2-0.
2-0 Arsenal win. Cass. Hey! Now, wow. Ahmed, quickly.
Well, I think Man City would have the disappointing first leg encounter at the back of their mind. Disappointing not because they lost, but they drew after playing more than 45 games with man advantage. They had to rely on a Jhon Stones late equalizer, and they sort of like have renewed motivation with in new signings like Umar and the likes. So Arsenal without some key players, Saka injured. So I expect a Man City 3-1.
Man City 3-1 win. Yinka,
So again, I'm going to avoid predicting the scoreline. Like I said on the last episode, I don't think Arsenal will lose. So I'll say an Arsenal win or draw. That's the best I can go. It would either be an Arsenal win or a draw for Arsenal, a score draw. I think both teams will score though.
a score draw.
Yes.
Should I throw in my prediction?
Yes,
You're welcome.
sure.
Now.
I see a 3-1 Man City win. The next one is a very controversial one. Milan versus Inter.
There's nothing
Milan
controversial about
versus
it.
Inter. Let me start with Yinka. It's the Milan derby.
Milan will be the designated home team.
Waiting with that.
Milan
How does that help us?
Milan have just lost in the Champions League as well, so they'll be fired up. Inter actually. Oh, Fofana is
No, it's not
injured.
injured. No, it's suspended.
Suspended. Fofana is suspended. That's a very, very vital piece of information.
Musa is not with
but
us.
Milan are at home. Milan are just coming back from a loss. So I want to believe that they will try to right it. But Inter are in form at the moment. Inter have quality. My head says draw, a 2-2 draw. But my heart says an Inter 2-1.
My brother,
I'll go with 2-2.
you will
I'll
pick
go with
one.
2-2 draw. 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
Yes.
Ahmed.
Well, if you ask me, Inter have just secured Champions League qualification. They took one of the automatic spots and avoided playoff. And now their focus is fully on the Milan derby. And they had two things in their favor. They took places to the cleaners. Early on last weekend, they had the chance to rest majority of their key players. The same thing tonight against Monaco. They went on a 2-goal lead early on. Monaco went a man down. They did the same thing, gave enough rest to their players. Milan, on the other side, had to stop until the 95th minute to seal Parma. And we played the last part of tonight's game with a man down. So the energy burnout is there, and the thought of Inter revenging the first leg loss and Super Copa final loss. So I think a highly motivated Inter side, they need to make a statement because they are in contention with Napoli. Inter 3-0 win.
Why are you surprised?
That's shocking,
So
Why
though.
are you surprised?
after all that analysis, 3-0, they'll beat your team 3-0. It's okay. Cass, quickly, Cass.
I think it should be more. I think it will probably be 4 because without what's his name, Fofana in the middle, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what the plan is.
You have Alhaji Benasis.
Actually, that's a very vital play. They are going to miss
See,
Fofana a lot.
it's 4-0. Let me not do any analysis. It's just 4-0.
I won't talk. I will not comment on this one. I don't have prediction for this one. Final match, Juventus versus Roma. Juve at home to Roma. Cass, quickly. Juve at home to Roma.
Is that this weekend?
Is that this week?
Juve is playing Empoli.
Oh, that's okay. That's in 2 weeks' time. Okay. That's in 2 weeks' time. Sorry about that. So we are just going to keep it to these 3 matches. If you are a follower and you follow these predictions, at least you can get 2 to 5 odds from this. On our next episode, we will review the outcome of these matches and discuss results. Okay, for the Milan derby, let me just complete the cycle, add my own prediction. So for the Milan derby, I see a 2-2 also. I see 2-2. I don't know where Cass and Ahmed are seeing their own win from. I see a 2-2 draw. Anyways,
Yeah, Calabash in your front.
there's no Calabash. There's no Calabash. Anyways, we've come to the end of today's show. I thank you guys for your time. To our followers, to our fans, please follow us on all social media platforms, in Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. We hope to release this episode as soon as possible for your consumption. We apologize for previous technical issues, and we strive to be better with every episode. Next week, we are having a guest. Please give us your feedback, give us your comments, and we promise to be better. So you guys have a wonderful night rest. Next week, we will see who is the senior pundit among us all. Thank you and good night.
Thank you very
Good
much.
night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank you.
lovely evening. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.